Okay, welcome back, everybody. This is part 2 of my summary of the town hall that we had on June 22nd at Estuary Beans and Barley. The core of the meeting about the Charleston County Transportation Sales Tax, 2026 sales tax. But as you'll see, I covered a lot more information. County Councilman Joe Boykin was there with me to present this. So first I want to show everybody why we have a Charleston County sales tax. This is a map of all the state-owned and maintained roads in the state of South Carolina. All those purple lines are state roads. You could do a QR code screenshot or just go to that website that's on the screen to see this for yourself. You can zoom in and out. It's an interactive map. So here's some data I added to this. So South Carolina ranks 40th in the country in geography size, 23rd in population in the country. Yet we have the 4th most miles of state-owned roads in the country. Not per capita, but actual miles of road. 41,000 miles of road is what you're looking at the screen right there. The 4th most in the country. Little tiny South Carolina. And when you have that many miles of roads that the state has, the state's supposed to be able to pay for them, to expand them, to improve them as the population grows. And the way they do that primarily is a state gas tax, but we're 30th in the country in state gas tax. So if you own a whole bunch of infrastructure, but you don't have the means to pay for it, somebody's got to pay for it. That's why Charleston County has been doing these transportation sales taxes since 2004. I believe they were the first county in the state to do this, but since then, I think 4 or 5 other counties have also been doing sales taxes at their level in their counties for the exact same reason. South Carolina was the number 1 population percentage increase in the country last year. So we're feeling the pain, but other cities are feeling the pain. Beaufort, Myrtle Beach. I mean, a lot of cities in South Carolina are feeling a lot of pain. Even nearby Mount Pleasant, traffic's terrible everywhere. We on the Sea Islands, I think, feel it a little bit more because we know we're funneled on 2 ways on and off the island, and 2 ways only on roads that have not expanded very much. But that's changing soon, but there's still a long ways to go. Anyway, this is the problem. This is the core of the problem right there. So you see this big map of South Carolina. So what does that mean to us locally? So let me zoom in. So that's the same map zoomed in. There's Johns Island. There's the Stono River right there. There's James Island, West Ashley. There's the peninsula, downtown Charleston. It has even more unbelievable amount of state-owned roads on the peninsula. A lot on James Island. Less on Johns Island, but still a whole lot. I'll give you another picture. All these red lines are Johns Island. That star is where Estuary Beans and Barley is. So all these red lines, River Road, state-owned road, Murraywood, Brownswood, Fickling Hill, Bohicket, Maine, Chisholm, Plowground, Maybank, of course, and even roads inside neighborhoods are state-owned roads. It's a long story why that is the case. The state House and Senate are finally starting to try to do what they can to chip away at that broken system, because it's a broken system that's causing a lot of problems. But it's going to take many years for them to get the legislation right to truly fix it and for us to see the difference. So in the meantime, this is what we got. And like I said, if you look up on James Island, there's even more state-owned roads and in deep inside neighborhoods. It's just crazy. So the state does not have the money to pay for those roads to improve them with the population increase. And the city's not funded for that. These green roads here are the city roads that are inside neighborhoods. That's normal, and that's the city pays for those with developers. But we don't have the money to improve main infrastructure roads. We're not designed that way. Our tax system. So this is the current iteration of Charleston County's 2026 sales tax. So I'm going to get into this in more detail later. Just giving you the overview of the breakdown. It's after months and months and months of negotiation and compromise, the different entities that want different things. So they ended up with about 40% paying for featured projects, which I'll show in detail in a little bit here, and 20% for public transit. A lot of people are upset that there's not more public transit on Johns Island. If you don't know, there actually is a state bus route onto Johns Island. It doesn't do too many stops a day, but it does meet have a stop over near the corner of Maybank, Maine, and Boykin, and a couple other spots on Johns Island. So if you really want public transit, contact me and I'll tell you how to get that. Anyway, why doesn't CARTA come onto Johns Island? Well, for one thing, it wouldn't be able to set a schedule because traffic on Maybank, as we know, in Maine, is so unpredictable. Anytime, especially when school's in session, Maybank Highway is completely unpredictable. So you can't do a timed bus route on there, especially until Maybank is widened, which is happening, and I'll get to that in a few minutes. Anyway, that's the breakdown. You can take a look at it. Greenbelt, 16%. That preserves land that could have been developed, and so that helps preserve land and green space and nature that we like that we love on Johns Island, but also helps prevent future development from happening. So that's important for the Sea Islands. Key points that a lot of people don't understand about the sales tax in general. This one replaces the 2026 sales tax. If it passes, will replace the expiring 2004 sales tax. There's also 0.5% sales tax. This sales tax will last about 25 years. And just for some context, a half a penny or 0.005 cents equates to about $25 for every $5,000 spent, to have some context. Okay, some more important information of why the county chooses a sales tax. The only other, I think, legal option to do they didn't do sales tax is to increase property taxes. If they were to increase property taxes, the only people that would pay that property tax increase are property owners in Charleston County. That's it. Only property owners will pay it. So it'd be a pretty substantial increase in property taxes. Instead, they've chosen the sales tax route, and here's a big reason why. This is a map provided by, or not a map, but a graph, a chart provided by BCD Cog. You can see it up there in the right-hand corner, the Berkeley Charleston Dorchester Council of Governments, that shows how many, this is 2022 data, how many commuters commute into Charleston County every single workday. 135,000 people. That 135,000 people buys gas, pays for things, food, etc., every single workday that pays into the sales tax. And the workforce in Charleston County is only going to grow as the economy is still on fire and people are moving in the area. So that's more people moving in the area and will be driving into the area to work. And those people contribute to our sales tax. So that's good news. Also good news, this just came out a couple days ago. Source is the College of Charleston Office of Tourism and Analysis. It's an estimation of tourism's economic impacts in the greater Charleston area. So greater Charleston area just means Charleston, North Charleston, Mount Pleasant, Somerville, those kind of areas. So around $14 billion per year from tourism revenue that the Charleston area is getting every single year. $14 billion, and that's steadily climbing. If you take 0.5 cent of every dollar spent by tourists in the greater Charleston area, in Charleston County, that comes out to $70 million every single year paid by tourists into the transportation sales tax. That is awesome. And actually, it's more than that because there'll be two sales taxes in place in one time. The 2016 sales tax, which is still going on for another 10 years or so, and then this sales tax, if it passes, so that's a full cent. So it's actually $140 million ish paid by tourists into our sales tax, transportation sales tax system. So those two things, the workers that work in Charleston County from other counties, and then the tourism combined takes a huge, huge burden off of Charleston County residents that we would otherwise pay if it was a property tax. So that's pretty awesome. So now I'm going to get into level of service. So level of service is a nationally recognized standard used by all the Department of Transportation across the country and the Highway Administration, the Federal Highway Administration, to fairly easily understand roadway traffic, congestion and flow and all that kind of stuff. And it's basically why I like it. It's color coded, simple for a Marine like me to understand. It's like a report card, A to F. A is good, F is bad. So here's the quick definitions. Level of service, A through F. You can read, free flow means drivers have complete freedom to select desired speeds, minimal interaction between vehicles, easy day driving. And then F is forced or breakdown flow. The demand exceeds capacity, stop and go conditions, queuing, and unpredictable travel times. And that's what we've experienced every single day on Johns Island, and I have the data to prove it. This one is also level of service at intersections, similar definitions. A is free flow. F is oversaturated, delay caused by adverse signal progression, etc. All right. This is also from Berkeley, Charleston, Dorchester Council of Governments, BCD-COG, which is a transportation body comprised of those three counties. And they did a study where they compared 2019 traffic data with expected 2045 traffic data. This is Johns Island. So there's a Stono River. So over here is Johns Island. There's Wadmalaw. There's Kiowa. There's James Island Peninsula. So it's the same picture on both sides, 2019, 2045. Just pointing out two landmarks here. Maybank River intersection in 2019, and then the main road in Highway 17 intersection. And as you can see, even back in 2019, which was 7 years ago, before I get there, Ron Mitchum is the director of BCD-COG. He presented this presentation, which I modified, to Charleston County Council last year in I think it was June of 2025. Yeah, June 24th, 2025. He presented this data to Charleston County Council. That's where I got this information. Before he began the presentation, he talked about level of service and A through F, and he said that for the sake of discussion, for sake of illustration, that they came up with another level, a new level of F, because there was so much F that he had to come up with essentially F minus or F asterisk. So if you can see, that's down here, the purple, the dark purple is F minus. That's worse than F because there was so much that were so much worse than F that was worth illustrating that to Charleston County. So if you can see there on your screen, if you're on your phone, you may not be able to see it. If you're on a computer, you can see it probably. In 2019, the Maybank River intersection crossing River Road going towards James Island was already F minus. That was 7 years ago. We all know it's gotten a lot worse. Main Road Segment A, after crossing river on Main, going towards 17. It was F in 2019. And as we know, that project has started the Main Road Segment A project. Fast forward to 2045. Even after, this is really important, folks, for the 2026 sales tax, I want to explain something. Even though we know the Main Road Segment A project is being done right now, $440 million project is going to help traffic a lot. By 2045, this 2045 included the anticipation of Main Road Segment A getting completed, because that was a project funded in 2016, and this study was done, I think, in 2019. So they already knew that project was on the books. It was some point going to be done. And this is the traffic flow after that's done in 2045. As you can see, it's actually worse than it was in 2019 with the population increase they anticipate, where you have F all the way on 17 and then F minus going west on 17 after the Main Road Segment 8 project is done. And of course, Maybank River intersection's even worse, more F minus. Okay, so that's frustrating, but it gives a good context for what I'm about to talk about. So here we go. So I'm going to go give a little bit of history. This presentation was given to Charleston County Council on March 6, 2025. This covers the 2004 sales tax and 2016 sales tax. And I'll get back to what I was just talking about. So 2004 sales tax, but in March of 2025, $746 million was paid for projects. 12 of the projects were complete. And you can see all that was done. 2016 sales tax, by March of last year, $127 million was paid into that. But since then, the Main Road Segment A project was bonded and approved since this presentation was given. So I'm adding $440 million to that $127 million, because that's the cost of the Main Road Segment A. So around, $550 or so million from the 2016 sales tax has been spent or is being spent right now. This is the 2004 sales tax project list. You can actually watch this presentation that was given live at Charleston County Council by going to that website. Johns Island's down here in the bottom left-hand corner. In the Sea Islands, Kiowa's just off the map there. The only thing that was funded in the 2004 sales tax was the Northern Pitchfork, is all that was funded. And the Northern Pitchfork was ridiculed widely in the town hall because we're not happy with how that turned out. It's too narrow. There's a whole bunch of developments going on either side of it. It defeats the purpose of having the pitchfork. But I'll talk about that in a second too, because that's going to improve also with the next sales tax. The point being all this, Johns Island didn't get a whole lot. Not much for Johns Island. Only the Northern Pitchfork, and that's it. From the 2004 sales tax. Pretty sad. You can see the other projects elsewhere. This is the projects that were on the list started almost immediately. You can see right there, all started within a couple of years of, not all of them, but most of them, half of them started a couple of years after the sales tax passed. And that's because they bonded the money. They borrowed the money that they were anticipating getting from the sales tax. They obviously didn't have the sales tax all at once. That takes years and years and years to accumulate. They decided to borrow the money so they can start the projects quickly. And that's what this talks about here. Okay, now 2016 sales tax, they did it differently. They didn't bond for the most part. So again, here's Johns Island. Literally nothing on Johns Island except the Main Road Segment A project, which is going and will be done by 2028 or in 2028. Part of it will be done this year. But again, Nothing else on Johns Island. Just kind of blows all of our minds. Like, how do they not give us something, knowing that the population was increasing rapidly? You see all the other projects, major projects elsewhere, some on James Island. But notice the difference here. So the green line is the revenue accumulated over time. The yellow line is the expenses on projects. Big difference. The 2004, they were almost parallel the whole way. The reason is, as you can read here, is because they decided not to bond or borrow against the revenue, anticipated revenue of the tax for the most part. A couple exceptions, but that they decided not to borrow. They thought I think they were trying to be fiscally um, efficient with the money and didn't want to, pay interest on borrowing. But that backfired in two major ways. One, it slowed down when the projects could be started. As you can see here, a huge gap between sales tax starting in fiscal year 17 and the first projects not started till 2022, and then trickling in later on after that. So here we are. Here's the main road, segment A, Highway 17, segment A. Not started until late, and it won't be done until 12 years after the sales tax. That's the main reason why they decided not to borrow the money for it in advance. If they had, yeah, they'd be paying interest on it, but the project could have started a lot sooner. The other thing they didn't anticipate was COVID and all the massive inflation after COVID that made everything way more expensive. So in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, the main road segment A project was estimated to be $170 million. And when they finally pulled the trigger to start it and to pay for it in 2025, $440 million in 4 years, 170 million to 440 million. Very frustrating. It actually defunded another project that was on 2016 sales tax, which is Main Road Segment C, which is intersection of Maybank, Bohicket, and Main, and then going south on Bohicket. That was defunded effectively from Main Road Segment A, being too expensive. That's how long the projects took. Not just the money issue and the not the borrowing or not bonding, but also the permit process takes a long time. So just showing you how long these projects take. It can take. Charleston County's learned from all this stuff, and they are changing how they're doing things for the 2026 sales tax. So one thing that was really different about the 2026 sales tax that Charleston County did is they really reached out to the municipalities months and months ahead of time to get our input. They rated the projects based on the level of service that I showed you earlier and safety data that Charleston County staff did. So they had a list of projects that they wanted to do, they recommended, but they also took inputs from the municipalities and they weighted those inputs as well. And then the municipalities, their mayors talked to their council members, the council members talked to their constituents. So these are the projects that Mayor Cogswell presented to Charleston County as his recommended projects that he wanted to get funded on the sales tax. Everything in red either is on or impacts Johns Island. And he took all the recommendations that I gave to him, every one of them, put them on the list, and that's everything in red there. Okay, so then this is what made the list. So understand, folks, that every municipality submitted their requests. Everybody had to lose some of the things they requested. It's a compromise. You got to spread the money somewhat fairly. And I know Johns Island wasn't receiving our fair share back in 2016 and 2004. But looking at today, these are the projects that made the list. Those in green, and I'll get to them in more detail here in a minute. Those in purple are already funded through help from the state or the county through finding other pots of money. or like I said, Main Road Segment A was funded from the 2016 sales tax. So that's funded. That started. Roundabout at Brownswood and River is funded, has not yet started, but will soon. And then this little purple line here is a huge impact for us. That is the expansion of Maybank Highway from River Road to the Stone River Bridge, where it funnels right now to one lane and bogs down traffic in all four directions at the River Maybank intersection, is funded to expand to 4 lanes, thanks to County Councilman Joe Boykin and the Charleston County Council voting for that for leftover money from the 526 project. Total cost of that is about $12 million. This green line here, again, this is the green areas or projects that made the list of the ones we requested. That is the southern pitchfork. And the circle here is a roundabout that will connect to a future extended northern pitchfork. I'll show you that in a little bit. This is improvements at the Maybank and Riverland intersection in James Island, which is also a terrible bottleneck and very unsafe. That's funded to be massively done. This is Marianne Point in Main Road, and it'll be a roundabout. People ask why a roundabout on Marianne Point. I don't ever turn on Marianne Point. It's because it's actually one of the most dangerous intersections in Charleston County based on data. So again, the Charleston County looked at safety and traffic flow, and Marianne Point is a dangerous intersection. So if they put a roundabout there, that'll help make that a lot safer and flow a little lot better. Okay, I mentioned how in 2045, even after Main Road Segment A is complete, in 2045, based on population growth, we're still going to have rated F traffic flow up here. So on the 2026 sales tax addresses that, because the traffic congestion was on 17, and both sides of Main Road on Highway 17, each half of these projects, there's 2 separate projects, each of them about $200 million each, will address that, which is awesome. So that's really great news. So we look at this, there's a lot of things going on or around Johns Island that affect us directly. So that's good news. Okay, so here's the detailed list of all the projects. So this is all the projects that are on the 2026 sales tax. These red boxes are those projects I just described that were on the map. The only one that's not on the map is this county-wide bike ped plan, which I believe we will get a chunk of that on Johns Island. The rest of them are the ones that I named: the Maybank at Riverland Drive intersection on James Island, $6 million. The main road at Marianne Point roundabout I talked about $5 million. The Maybank Highway Southern Pitchfork and roundabout, $65 million for that. So again, it's a Southern Pitchfork, going to come around from River Road, actually from Cane/Slash Road to River Road, extending around to Maybank, meeting up with the Northern Pitchfork on Maybank at a new roundabout. That's great news. And then US 17 widening from Dobbin to Main Road, just north of Johns Island, and then US 17 widening from Main to SC 162, just north of Johns Island. Both of those over $220 million. So significant amount of money in projects towards Johns Island and the Sea Islands that'll directly help us. That's a huge chunk for all of Charleston County. So now I'm going to get into on the next slide, the Maybank Highway, Southern Pitchfork and Roundabout. Here we go. Here's an old concept graph of that project overall, 2023. So James Island is here to the east. Coming onto Johns Island, going over the Stone River Bridge, getting onto Johns Island. There's the current Fenwick Hall LE light. There's Maybank River intersection and going on to Johns Island. And there's River Road. There's Cane Slash Road. Right now, currently, Cane Slash, you can see my arrow goes straight out to River Road. So here's a Southern Pitchfork. So these are all the projects that are on the sales tax for 2026. Right now, the Northern Pitchfork comes down to Fenwick Hall LE light. So what this will do, this will extend the Northern Pitchfork further out to Maybank here, closer to the bridge, to meet up with a future Southern Pitchfork, which will go around here, and it'll meet up at a roundabout. And there we go. Sorry about that. So there's 2 roundabouts as part of this. So at the Cane Slash will be realigned and come out at a roundabout here at the Southern Pitchfork on River Road. Roundabout there. So what that does, these roundabouts, that eliminates the need for a traffic signal at Fenwick Hall LE. And the pitchfork system will work better when both pitchforks are built, because then it allows more effectively right in and right out only. So if you're coming from James Island and you want to go north on River Road, you don't ever have to hit this light at River Road and Maybank. You can hit the roundabout, hit another roundabout, go out here, take a right, and you're good. Freeze up that intersection. And then if you're coming from South River Road going towards Maybank and you want to go to James Island, same thing. Hit the roundabout, never hit a light, and hit another roundabout and you're gone. And all the folks in Oakfield and Shade Tree Apartments and Twin Lakes, Maybank Village, all can use Cane Slash and never hit a traffic signal and don't have to stop at River Road and just hit a couple roundabouts and you're gone just on the River Bridge. So when it's built, if the sales tax passes, this will help tremendously. So now I'm going to show a rendering of what this roundabout looks like. A lot of people are curious about that. Here's a concept. This is definitely subject to change because SCDOT, this is SCDOT road as we talked about, so they have to approve this. So there might be modifications as to where the roundabout is located exactly, if it's here or if it's a little bit further up or whatever, the size of it, all that stuff. So this is a rendering put together by the city and the county. And in concept, it's good, but there's a lot of details to be worked out. Okay. Now I'm going to give a quick summary of the currently funded road projects in Johns Island. They're already funded, that are being worked on right now, or will be soon. Main Road Segment A, I think we all know about that. I'll give a quick update on that one. 2 aspects of this project are going to be done by the end of this year, 2026. That'll help a lot, and it's in the 2 red boxes. So this red box right here is this is River Road, and this is Main and Chisholm, and there'll be a roundabout there that'll be done by the end of this year, which is awesome. They'll eliminate a traffic signal and it'll help traffic a lot. And then there'll be an on-ramp onto Highway 17 from Main Road that'll also be done by the end of this year. Target completion date of both of those is by December 2026. So that'll start helping traffic significantly. The rest of the project is not slated to be done until mid to late 2028. All right. This one is very important. So right now, again, from on Maybank Highway headed towards James Island, right after we cross River Road, it funnels down to 1 lane and it slows traffic down to a grind. And you got to do the zipper merge, all that stuff. Please watch this video right here. There's the link. or take a screenshot of that QR code, take you to a 10-minute video summarizing how Charleston County Councilman Joe Boykin got money to go towards that project. And I also give in that video the history of Maybank Highway and how in 2001 and 2010 timeframe, there were 2 opportunities to make Maybank 4 lanes, and the city both times shot it down, and the county kind of had a hand in that too, to prevent it from happening, to save a few trees. And so here we are in 2026 trying to get it fixed. So when that's done, that'll start sometime this year. It'll be done sometime in 2028, and this dreaded zipper merge will be gone in 2028. 2 lanes going out, 2 lanes coming in. It'll be awesome. Okay. Really quick summary of this one. I'm not going to show it here. I'm going to put it on my website. But Ram Maji is the CEO of NextVelo. For free, developed this system. He's letting Johns Island use it as a guinea pig. It's going to be it's a traffic analysis system where you can put in and compare different routes on Johns Island and all around Johns Island, really in the city of Charleston, and compare how traffic has changed from year to year, month to month, summer vacation versus school in session, and even day to day. So if there was like a major accident somewhere on Johns Island, you can actually go and look. This takes Google data, updates it every 15 minutes. So it takes data points and all these routes, pre-canned routes every 15 minutes, and populates the data. So not only can you choose the routes and choose the time frames, you can also go into AI and just spell out in words what you want it to show, and it'll show you. It's awesome. It'll be free on my website. Basically right now, there it is. Go to that website, you can see it. Also a parcel map where you'll be able to look at any parcel on Johns Island, including the ones that are permitted to be built. You can go look at it and find out what it's going to be. It's going to be built and turned into what. So I'm all about educating the public. You know, I don't like surprises. You don't like surprises. I want everyone to see what parcels are still out there to be built and what they're, if we know what they're going to be, there'll be data for those parcels, and you'll get to know exactly what's going to be built, whether it's a business or a single family neighborhood or whatever. So that's pretty exciting. I think it's the first in this region to offer that. So I'm very grateful to Ram Maji for that. It's going to be incredible knowledge builder for you all. And for me, it's awesome. All right. So that's the end of part 2. Part 3, you'll see a link here at the end of this video, will be all about the Jubilee Boutique Hotel. And that was presented at the town hall by Adam Baslow, the owner of New Leaf Development, and did a great job. So that'll be the next video. Thanks, everybody.